This is our FedEx Understanding the Race. The trends are the patterns of the last 9 spring races here at Martinsville. The longest green flag run, average 81 laps. Only twice in those 9 races have we went over 100 consecutive laps of green flag racing. The average number of cars finished on the lead lap, average 17 cars. I think that number will be greater, a lot because of the wave around rule for the first time here in the spring race. And the last caution period, average lap 472, but 4 times in those 9 races in the last 10 laps.
Today's race is brought to you by Budweiser, the beer that starts with full flavor and ends with a crisp, clean finish. Budweiser, it's what we do. Let's get some late stories from pit road as we come to 1 to go. Krista?
A lot has been made about the 48 team's pit selection. Unconventional, yes. Uncomfortable, no. Chad Canal said he loves pitting off turn 4, even at Martinsville. The opening made it a no-brainer, and that's where they pitted when they won this race last year.
Krista Kenseth started out the short track season in 2010 in solid form, finishing 5th at Bristol. But he comes into Martinsville, a place that will be a great benchmark for he and new crew chief Chad Parrott. Matt's #1 here, has only 2 career top 5s. Parrott, he's gone to victory lane not only as a crew member, but also as a crew chief. Dick?
Well, Jeff Gordon is one of the favorites to win here today. He's won more races than anybody else in the field and led more laps than anybody else, Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, Kurt Busch off to a great start in his 2010 season and a great starting position. Kurt said this track is going to go through a huge mood swing because of all the rain we had here yesterday.
A day of rain, now we are ready to race at the short track that thinks it's a super speedway in Martinsville, Virginia.
DW, I know it's Monday, but we still do the same thing. The first short track race of the year. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
If Kevin Harvick leads this first lap, he'll be the first pole sitter to do so since Daytona. And he does.
Boy, he pulls away as they're side by side back there. The 48 car of Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth. He'll slide down in front of Johnson to take the 2nd spot.
Larry, I just can't believe it. I find it hard to believe it wouldn't running that truck race on Saturday would be very, very helpful to Kevin Harvick and his team as far as the race today goes.
3rd place, Kurt Busch outside Jimmy Johnson, finishing up where they left off at Bristol. Racing each other for the front.
Tell you what, Kurt Busch in that 2 car is actually making some pretty good ground up in that higher groove. I did not know there would be a 2nd groove here till we got a little bit of rubber down.
Oh, yeah. You know what? You always like that outside back when you're back in the field because everybody fights for the bottom. Everybody will slow down trying to stay on the bottom, and sometimes you can make some good moves on that outside.
Well, there was so much rain here yesterday after the truck race. There isn't a first groove. I mean, there isn't a second. There isn't any groove.
There's no groove. It's just fun groove. Yeah.
Man, we're just grooving on the Monday afternoon.
Jeff Burton to the outside, pulls up behind Junior, and that's back at about 7th. Harvick steps out to a pretty big lead here. And Stewart tries the inside on Biffle, who gives him just enough room back there for 5th place.
And that 14 car looks good, man. He's right up off the bottom. The car's straight. Like the way that thing looks early on here.
Behind them, Junior and Paul Menard battle side by side. And still a lot of good double wide racing back through the field.
And you know, everybody talked about how good Junior's car looked in practice and how happy he was with it. But you know what? You don't know how good you are until you get out there in the race and you see what everybody else has got.
Darryl, what passes I've seen so far up near the front of the pack, it's almost like you barely get turned under them off the corner, and then you just dive bomb it into the next corner and take that spot away.
Yeah, early in the race, the guy on the outside is, you know, he's sort of a sitting duck. You gotta let that guy that's got the nose in there early on go.
Biffle drops a car length to Menard. Here comes Jeff Gordon on the inside, and Jeff Burton. Now the bottom of the track's starting to rubber up a little bit, and you see the superiority of the low groove. Biffle's going to have to find a place to get in line here.
Well, as a car gets to the inside of you, and the guys behind them, they start licking their chops. They say, oh, I'm going to feel this hole too, and you just get freight trained.
I'll tell you who's licking his chops. Tony Stewart. He just shot around Jimmy Johnson and is closing up fast on those next two cars.
And even though the track's different, I felt like the 14 car from the Saturday practice was awfully good, especially on the long run. Now, just to follow up on what Chris and Jeff was talking about, we'll have the competition caution at lap 50. That's where teams will get a chance to look at their tires. For the first time on this green racetrack, you can pit before them, but you cannot fuel your car until that caution.
17th place Joey Logano trying to hold off teammate Kyle Busch, Casey Kane, and Montoya.